Guess who's here? Theory is here. Welcome everyone. Today we're talking about things that didn't make sense in school, more specifically high school. So school, the most pointless thing once you hit high school. After high school, once you hit high school, it's absolutely pointless school, right? You learn pointless things like circumference of a circle, Pythagoras theorem, and how to use the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is only useful in a scenario where you are talking to a girl and the conversation, the flirtation, and the perspiration is flowing, and she says, "Before we go back to mine, do you know how to use the quadratic formula?" In that case, it's useful, but apart from that, and that's a very rare situation you'll ever find yourself in, but apart from that, it's pointless. It's absolutely pointless, and it's more useless than a case for a Nokia phone. But there are some pointless things that you do in school that make you question whose idea was it to send you to school in the first place. That's what we're talking about today. So I don't want to keep you all day like your grandma does on the phone. So let's just start off with number one. Having PE and food tech on the same day in high school. There's nothing kids love more in life than going to school with 3 bags. You have your regular bag for lessons, you have your PE bag with your PE kit in, and finally a food tech bag full of ingredients. Some cool kids like me, obviously, put their food tech stuff in the PE kit in the same bag. But you only did that if you was cool. If you weren't cool, you never did that. You just carried 3 bags. But if you was cool, you throw your PE kit in and your food tech stuff in the same bag. But what annoys me about this is the fact that teachers sat down to discuss a timetable for when certain lessons should happen, and some brain box thought, hey, why don't we stick PE and food tech on the same day? That way, they can carry all the PE stuff and 6 mason jars full of ingredients in one bag. The result was that you looked like you booked a one-way ticket to Cyprus. The bag was massive and it weighed you down so much that you would have like burn marks from where the material off the string of the bag would rub into you. And you didn't want to get a locker. No, you didn't want to get a locker. Why? Because it was £5 in my school for a locker. £5. I'd rather carry the stuff around all day. But what's even worse about this is the fact that when you had, like, let's say you had PE first, you would have PE and then you put your sweaty clothes in this PE bag or this food tech bag as well, and then you put your food tech stuff on top. All your ingredients will be in a bag full of sweat. So next time you're cooking, guess what? It's got a little bit of salt in it because of the PE kit and how much you sweated during PE. Nice. So, you know, this extra meal, this pizza deal that you just made for $12.99, yeah, it's got a little bit of salt to it. Hope you enjoy. Bon appetit, bitch. Second thing, acting bad / gangster on own clothes day. Now, so for non-UK viewers, in the UK, we have this thing, and I'm sure other countries obviously have this, but you had to wear a school uniform in school. I believe in America you don't. Now, when it was the last day before a 2-week or 6-week break, the principal would allow the students to wear their own clothes for the last day. So day before, on Thursday, you'd walk into class, you would walk in like, "Hello miss, I can't wait to learn about Joseph Lister and the germ theory. Do I have the correct permission to place my corpse on this chair and get my equipment out in preparation for the upcoming lesson?" But when it was Friday, when it was on clothes day, oh, you switched from the nice guy to the straight alpha thug. You would bust in the classroom, you bust the classroom door down with your size 11 Jordans and be like, "Sup, bitch, what nonsense are we learning today?" Watch you slowly rip a fat cloud from your jewel waiting for the teacher to answer. Then you walk over to your boys who are dressed like G-Unit and start cracking jokes and not giving a fuck about the teacher. Then you walk up to some girl, smack her on her ass and throw her your calculator and tell her, "Hey, put your number in that slag." Why did we do this? Maybe that was a bit extreme, right? But you get where I'm going with this. Why did we act so gangster and so rebellious and act like thugs when we was in our own clothes? It's like Spider-Man when he gets the black suit. He changes mentally. That's what it was like for us when we had our own clothes on the last day of school. We would just belittle the teacher and just take the piss out the entire lesson. We wouldn't really care because we're in our own clothes. We don't have to work. We don't have to learn anything. Why? We're in our own clothes. I don't get it though. Why did that convert us into being this nice guy into a straight alpha male? Why was our own clothes the biggest mentality shift ever? And we started acting like gangsters. We started acting like roadmen. We started being bad. We weren't the same person we were on Thursday because Friday came along, on close day came along. Nah, that was the old me. You're introducing you're looking at the new me right now. It became such a problem in my school specifically that the principal banned it. That's a true story. The principal banned on close day because how rebellious the kids were and how much it changed them mentally. I'm not even joking about that. On close day was actually banned in our school because of how much it changed kids. Why did it change us? I don't have a clue. I guess just because we're in our own clothes, we don't have to do what the teacher says. But at the same time, it didn't really make sense why we acted bad. So that is another thing that was pointless that we all did in school. Sorry. Another thing we had in school, right, and it's obviously happened in some other schools, but my school had a one-way system. So in my school, we had a one-way system which pretty much does what it says, right? You're only allowed to travel around school in one particular way, which meant if you had IT and it was right next to the canteen and dinner time was next, you couldn't just go straight to the canteen and walk, you know, that little walk that would take you 15 seconds to get there. Nah, you couldn't do that. Instead, you have to go all the way around the school, up the stairs, all the way around, back down the stairs, just so you can get to the canteen, and it would take like 3 minutes to do. Instead of 15 seconds, you would have to go all the way around, and it would take you an extra 3 minutes to do. And by the time you got there, all the food is gone because Fat Duncan managed to get there before you because his lesson was closer to the canteen than yours. He was at the other side, the side that you're allowed to go in. And now, I know what you're thinking, THEAR, come on, lad, you didn't follow them rules, did you? You could have just walked through the door. Come on, why did you follow the actual rule? You could have just walked straight through the door. No, you couldn't, because we had students and teachers that would guard doors, so you couldn't go the way, that the teacher didn't want you to go. You couldn't just go straight to the canteen, you had to go all the way around, because teachers would guard them doors where you weren't allowed in. So you were literally forced to go all the way around, even though the canteen is right there. So this system was designed to, you know, to ease up the congestion when dinner time came around, so people weren't cramming into each other and bumping into each other. But it never worked. It never ever worked, because when dinner came around, everyone had to go one way, which means it would be absolute chaos. You would have 100 students pushing each other to go into the canteen, and you couldn't help it. Once you was in that crowd, you were instantly pushed forward. It felt like I was getting pushed into a gas chamber and I was about to meet my demise. Instead of having both ways open so the crowd wouldn't be nearly as bad, teacher decided, nah, let's just cram all the students together like they're going to a gas chamber in Auschwitz. How about that? It was pointless. And another thing that I've just remembered is if you came out of the canteen, you couldn't go to the toilets. The toilets were on your right? But you couldn't go that way because there was a one-way system. So you would have to go all the way around the school again just to get to the toilets. And then you could come through the canteen again to meet your boys. Why was that a thing in school? Why was the one-way system a thing? It was so pointless in my school. It might have worked in other schools, but in my school, it just didn't work at all. Underlining was pointless in school as well. This was more pointless than Pythagoras' theorem by far. Our teachers in high school, when I was a big boy, age 16, made us underline our title and date. Now that would be fine. That situation, you know, our teachers asking us to do that, that would be fine. It was writing on a blank piece of paper, but I wasn't at all. I was writing on lined paper, but the teachers insisted in underlining your date and title on lined paper. Lined paper sitting there like, am I a joke to you? It defeats the whole purpose of lined paper. The whole purpose of lined paper is so you can keep your writing in a straight line and so we don't have to underline anything. But no, the teachers wanted to add another thing, another pointless thing into the mix of your already pointless education. Why was I forced to underline titles and dates in my school books? And if you didn't, the teacher would make you go back in the next lesson and make sure you underline it. And she would put it in that red pen, underline this and underline that. Like, why? It's on lined paper. You know it's the title, you know it's the day. Why do I have to underline it? What purpose does that serve? Why was that a thing? I've never underlined anything since high school. Like I said, it would only be useful like on a Word document, for example, where it's literally a blank page. At that point, yeah, underlining, great tool. But when it's lined paper, there's no reason for you to underline something. That's the whole purpose of lined paper. They didn't just invent or make lined paper for the crack of it, like, we've got paper, why don't we put lines on it? No, it was an actual thing that someone thought of for an actual purpose. But teachers just disregarded it and said, nah, still underline it, please. And that's it. That's some of the things that were so pointless in my school and probably in your school and many other people's school around the world. Let me know if you want more videos like this. I might do one for primary school as well. Some pointless things we did in primary school, like fingers on lips and stuff like that. So let me know in the comment section down below if you want more of this type of series. Until next time, I've been THEAR. Put THEAR inside your heart. We are representing baby. Oh.